السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا وسندنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل للمؤمنين يغضوا من أبصارهم ويحفظوا فروجهم ذلك أزكى لهم إن الله خبير بما يصنعون صدق الله العظيم وصدق مولانا النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك ومن الشاهدين ومن الشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, tell the believing men to lower their gaze and guard their private parts. That is pure for them. Surely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all aware of what they do. Inna Allah khabirun bima yasna'un. Surely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all aware of what they do. And in another part of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in the next ayah actually, and tell the believing women to lower their gaze and guide their private parts. Guard their private parts. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has sent us in society. He has sent us amongst other people. We interact with people, we meet with people, we intermingle with people, we sit with people, we stand with people, we talk with people. People. You get the point, you get the gist. Right? Last week we spoke about individualism and liberalism. That's what we spoke about last week. If you missed it last week, I'm very sorry, you missed a good talk. But what's it called? But it was an important talk. And it was an important topic. A lot of times we don't pay attention to these topics such as individualism and liberalism and the shellacking or the damage it's doing to society, that these thoughts. But at the same time, there's the flip side of when we do meet with people, when we do interact with people, how are we meeting with them? How are we interacting with them? How are we intermingling with them? Right? This is very important in how we handle situations in society. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us to guard our gazes. It's not just a personal preference. This is divine guidance and divine obligation. The eye is the gateway to the heart. What we watch, what we consume, what we view, what the vision holds, it affects us mentally, emotionally, in all different ways. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, the unlawful glance is a poisoned arrow from the arrows of shaitan. Whoever leaves it out of fear of Allah, Allah will grant him faith, whose sweetness he will find in his heart. We spoke a few months ago about advertisements. We spoke about it a few months ago. One of my friends recently started talking to me the other day, and he started talking about the science of advertising. And when I spoke about it, I spoke about cancer medicines which deal with like serious illnesses. And at the end of the advertisement, throughout the course of the advertisement, they're dancing and they're meeting with people and they're doing all these fun things. And at the end of the advertisement, there's people jogging on a beach. Could you imagine something more enjoyable than being healthy and jogging on a beach and there's water for miles upon end and beautiful sand beneath you. And at the end of the advertisement, they say side effects may include death and this and that and other diseases, so on and so forth. Right? This is what they tell you. This is the facade that they're building in your mind, that this is what you want. The side effects may happen, may not happen, but it doesn't matter. And inshallah, for the brothers who are here, if we can put down our phones for a few minutes and pay attention to the talk, that would be wonderful. We can continue with our work even later on. The 10 minutes of the talk, there's still about 8 to 10 more hours of day you can be on your phone. So society has promoted inappropriate behavior. It has promoted inappropriate dress. It has promoted all types of inappropriate things of inappropriate natures. And at the same time, we have normalized these inappropriate behaviors. We have normalized these inappropriate actions and inappropriate conversations between men and women. The society has promoted intimacy in commercials. Intimacy between people who are not married in commercials. Intimacy between two people who should not have any sort of, holding hands or any sort of kissing or anything like this. Commercials have promoted this. Half-clothed dancers and half-clothed people in society has been promoted, and we see this on TV. We see this on the YouTube videos which we watch. We see this on the advertisements, that if your kids do consume a lot of YouTube, right? They consume a lot of content on YouTube. I would highly suggest, yes, it's about $7, $8, getting premium so that at least they're not watching the ads. Because you don't know what's coming on those ads. A lot of times you don't know what's coming on those ads. Spend a few bucks. Don't be cheap on this. You don't want your kids to be exposed to these kinds of things. Only expose them to things which are clean and pure. This is what our religion teaches us. Right now, summer vacation, our kids, their screen time is off the hook. There's a lot of screen time going on. And if we don't pay attention to what they're watching and the kind of ads that are being placed in front of them and telling them, look, this is inappropriate. We don't watch things like this. There's no supervision going on. We need to tell them these things. We need to remind them of these things so that they know this is inappropriate. We as Muslims don't watch this. We don't look at these things. For example, my son, and I'm not saying my son is the example for any children. I love my son. When he went to school, they were having a s'mores party. And they gave him the marshmallows and he said, no, I cannot eat this. This is haram for me. He didn't know what the source of the gelatin was. And the marshmallows. Immediately he said, no, I cannot eat this. Christmas time, I told the story where we told them we don't say Merry Christmas, right? This is our preference, we don't say Merry Christmas. If somebody wants to say it too, it's fine, whatever they want to say it. We went to the grocery store, and as we're leaving, the guy says, Merry Christmas, Justin. I says, no, we can't say this. He says, we don't celebrate Christmas, you can't tell us Merry Christmas. I said, it's okay, let him say it. It's like we don't want to be the haram police on non-Muslims as well. But he took it very seriously. When we teach kids the right things, they take them more seriously than we do. They take them to heart more than we do. So this is why we shouldn't be ashamed or afraid to teach our things. Teach our children the things which are correct, and the things which are incorrect, tell them, look, this is incorrect. Don't do this. If we set the example from beforehand, they won't have a hard time saying no. But we're the ones who have a hard time saying no to them. Got to change that. Modern examples and consequences of this type of inappropriate behavior, inappropriate intimacy in public. People are addicted to fantasies. So this is why people are delaying finding partners for their life, finding a wife, finding a husband, things like this. The young people are addicted to inappropriate films, inappropriate shows, things like this. Even the older people are now. There's marital dissatisfaction in society, because the expectations are poisoned by what people consume on social media. People are consuming these things on social media and imagining that this is what is marriage, this is what is happy life. But you don't know what happens beyond and behind the screen. You only see what's on the screen. You don't know the struggles people are going through to make that content. I was reading an article yesterday. One of the most successful creators in this country is actually a Muslim content creator. And they said they did, I think, a 6 or 7 hour shoot. 6 or 7 hour shoot for a 45-second commercial. 6 or 7 hours of non-stop shooting for a 45-second, less than a minute, commercial. Can you imagine what goes on behind the scenes for 6 to 7 hours to come up with 45 seconds of picture-perfect content for you to see? People don't know the struggles that go into a marriage. People don't know the struggles that go into running a successful business. People don't know the struggles of being an honest person. They don't. And they don't want to know the struggles, because everybody wants to know what's easy. Hearts are growing hard. Salah becomes empty, because the eyes, the heart and the mind are consuming filth and inappropriate content all day long, listening to inappropriate lyrics all day long. And a lot of times what we do is we sanitize inappropriate content. You know, at a lot of the marriages or weddings that happen, and I'm going to talk specifically from a Pakistan, Indian, Bengali perspective, the dances that people do, they learn them from Indian movies. Let's be honest. Let's not play any games. They watch Indian movies, they learn these dances. This is their whole choreography for weddings and mehndis and all these other nonsense that we do. They learn these dances from Indian movies. Now where do these Indian movies, where do they get these movements and things like this? From their religion. If you look into these dances and songs that are performed in Indian movies, you will find at the core and at the root Hindu symbolism. You will find worship of their gods. You will find lyrics which people are happily singing along with at weddings and movies and things like this. That the whole nature behind it is Hindu, worshipping their gods, praising their gods. And when it happens at our weddings, we say, "Beta, go sit in the front, watch your khala or watch your chacha dancing. It's good, go watch them dance, clap on for them. Very good job." We sanitize something totally haram. Totally sanitized it. We've appropriated it. You know, we like to use these words, cultural appropriation. We've appropriated it into a Muslim household. And we said this is okay. We have sanitized, appropriated, inappropriate things for the men, the women, and the children in our households. You know, you may say, "Oh, this guy's giving the talk. You know, our kids are going to ask us questions about this." They should ask questions about this. Because you have sanitized, I have sanitized these things. And if we don't draw the line, we don't make the conclusion, haram is haram, halal is halal, our kids will become confused. Our kids won't know the difference. And I'll give you a perfect example. There's a man in India, a very famous Muslim man, by the name of Shah Rukh Khan. And inside of his house, he has the Quran. His kids go read Fatiha. Then beside it, he has Ganesh, you know, the elephant god of the Hindus. He goes and he tells his children, "Now go say salam to him as well." And then he has something beside it, and he also tells them, "Worship this as well." You can go for this. You can go on YouTube and you can look this up. You can look this up. I'm not even lying. When you sanitize un-Islamic things, you bring them into your house. You bring them into your house, and you tell your kids this is okay. And when they reach the ages of 16 to 18 to 20 and they're confused about their deen, because they've been fed the sanitized version of irreligious things, they're going to ask you the question like, "Dad, what's going on? Mom, what's going on? Are these things not okay?" We never had the heart to tell them it's not okay. We never had the heart to tell them this interaction between you and this individual is inappropriate. Because they've been seeing it sanitized in front of them all the time. Whether it's at a wedding, whether it's at a family gathering, whether it's at the masjid, or whether it's anywhere else. We've sanitized these things. And we don't tell them what is right and wrong. We need to teach our kids, protect your heart, protect your mind, and protect your eyes. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Indeed in the body there is a piece of flesh. If it is sound, the whole body is sound. If it is corrupt, the whole body is corrupt. Truly this is the heart. When the heart is clean, it longs for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when it is polluted by inappropriate things, it loses its connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It loses its connection with the Rabbul Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then its connection is built with those inappropriate things." What was one of the first things I said today? I said the connection of the eyes to the heart is there, whether we like to acknowledge it or not. The sooner we acknowledge it, the better for us. Because that's 2 days, 3 days, 2 years, 4 years sooner that we acknowledge when we put our children in front of inappropriate things. When we sanitize inappropriate things and put our children in front of them, this will affect their life and their iman. So myself included, I should do a better job of making sure what I am consuming, what I am putting out, what my children are consuming, what my children are putting out, the interactions I am having with people, they're appropriate in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or are they not? And if they're not, those communications need to cease. They don't need to go any further. If what I'm consuming at a wedding, if I'm consuming in a public gathering is impermissible, cut it. If it is permissible, sit there and enjoy. If what I am consuming as far as food goes, does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want me consuming this or not? If He does, continue to eat. If He doesn't, stop right then and there. If we don't build these principles inside of ourselves, if we don't build these principles inside of our children, 15 to 20 to 30 years later we will be crying, what did I do to my kids? I didn't tell them what was right and wrong. They learned from society, and society told them what was conveniently right or wrong for society based on how much money it could make off of them. We live in a capitalistic society. Society only cares about how much money it can make off of you. You're only as valuable as long as you can bring a buck to their door. And the day you stop bringing that buck to their door, you're dispensable. You can be thrown away. And the sooner we realize that, the sooner we understand that, the sooner we will understand what is temptation and why I need to stay away from it. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati ma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.